All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to be talking about one of the best trainers in boxing and one of the best fighters in boxing coming to an agreement about what they think is important and what may make the difference in the Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Crawford fight, which is coming up on July 29th. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are getting closer. We're getting closer to the big fight. Man, get your fight parties ready, all of that good stuff, because the weekend at 2 weekends from now, tomorrow will be Saturday, July 15th. 14 days after that will be the big mega fight between Errol, the Truth, Spence Jr. and Terence Bud Crawford. So in keeping with that awesome event that we have coming up, and it's good, because man, 2023 has been a great year of boxing, and we have been suffering through as boxing fans for the last several years with very, very mediocre to poor years of boxing. But now we get one of the best fights that you could hope for. Could be a once-in-a-lifetime fight between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford for the undisputed championship of the world, the 147-pound title. The WBA, the WBC, the IBF, and the WBO are all on the line. And the trainer for Errol Spence Jr. was asked a question about what his opinion of something that Gervonta Davis had said. Now, if you don't know who Gervonta Davis is, hey man, you must be living under a rock. He is the guy, along with Ryan Garcia, that kicked the ball off with making all these fights this year. He, on an interview on the Rise podcast, R-I-Z-E podcast, had something to say. And before I get into the details of it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you are a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, triple, quadruple thank you for all the videos that you watch, for coming by the live streams. Special thank you to the Super Thanks crew. Thank you very much to Mr. Pragmatic. Thank you again, Matty Yole. Thank you again to my guy, Paul Carrick, Barbara D, and everybody that watches the videos and helps sponsor them. But before we get into that, I just want to tell you real fast about today's sponsor, the Boxing Showtime app. It's a very useful app that keeps you updated on all things boxing, and you can keep up with the latest fights, where to watch them, the latest news, and a lot more. For any hardcore boxing fan like myself, and most likely all of y'all, I would definitely recommend downloading it. And it also is most definitely a big support to the channel. It's available for both Apple and Android, and you can find the link in the description below. Thanks for considering downloading Boxing Showtime's app. But let's get back into the subject matter of the video. Gervonta Davis made an analogy when talking about the Errol Spence-Terence Crawford fight, and he was actually debating somebody that was also on his own team. The person that he was debating was Coach Kenny Ellis and Coach Squeeze of the Rise podcast. If you're not familiar with the Rise podcast, make sure you look up R-I-Z-E podcast on YouTube. They are out of the Upton Gym, one of the best YouTube channels that there are, especially if you want to know what's going on with boxing, amateur boxing in the Baltimore area, because you know those guys are putting out a lot of really good competitors out of there. Gervonta Davis just being one of them. Also have Truck Simpson that comes out of that program as well. Another, very, very good young pro on his way up. He said Gervonta Davis said, look, here's the difference between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. You imagine that one guy has a steel shield and the other guy has a glass shield. Who exactly do you think is going to win that fight? And the person responded, that's if Errol hits him. And Gervonta Davis's response was, no, he's definitely going to hit him. That's definitely going to happen, right? So that was his take. Now, Derrick James, and we've done videos about that in the past. Now, Derrick James was asked about that and said, what do you think about what Gervonta said? And he smiled and he smirked and he's like, well, I think he's right. And then he said, yeah, I do believe that punch resistance will have a lot to do, will have an effect on this fight. And also, talked about some other things related to, to Errol Spence when he was asked about, what do you do about switching stances? And do you get sparring partners, multiple sparring partners, southpaw sparring partners or orthodox sparring partners? And his answer to that was interesting as well. Now, as far as the punch resistance portion of it, I've done a video about this before, but I will explain it. I'll explain it again because some people I don't think got what I was saying. There's a relationship between there's a difference between how hard you punch and how well you take a punch. Also, you got to add on to how often you get punched. And so when you're comparing somebody's punch resistance to another person's punch resistance, or somebody's power to somebody's power, you have to say, okay, well, if somebody, I can hit is a lot harder than you, but if you're hitting somebody that doesn't have a chin and I'm hitting something like a brick wall, right? My power is going to have less effect on the brick wall than it would be if you were fighting somebody, that was very, very easy to knock out. Who I used Amir Khan in that scenario because, that's probably the best example of somebody in boxing that just blatantly does not have a chin. And I'm not just bringing that up because Terence Crawford fought him. I'm just saying, that's just a good example for it. So that is what punch resistance is. So what you've seen with Terence Crawford in the past is Terence Crawford get clipped by guys with hooks. And I do believe in both instances that it was a left hook that Terence Crawford got hit with, and he went wobbling or he went down, right? And he is somebody that gets hit. So they're saying, look, man, if I'm able to get to that chin, and when we're able to get to that chin, yeah, dude, that's going to be a big thing. That's going to be a big thing in the fight. And one of the things with Terence Crawford's punching power, and this has been explained by many people that I would consider experts in the sport of boxing, amateur fighters, trainers, boxers, and people who've sparred with Terence Crawford. And they say, look, Terence Crawford's got whipping power. And whipping power is something where, if you get hit with it, you don't see it. It can hurt you if you don't see it, right? Which is different than the thudding power that Errol has, where even if you see it, he's going to keep hitting you with it, and it'll wear you down, over time. But if you're not able to take that type of shot, yeah, man, that could be a huge deal. Now, another thing that I thought was interesting, I don't want to do an entirely separate video about it, even though I may later on, it's my prerogative. I love talking boxing. I'm so excited about this fight. It's on my mind all the time. It's on the mind of a lot of boxing fans all the time, is what Derrick James said about the southpaw deal. And he said this is how you work out a southpaw. Sometimes speaking Derrick James, will be in the orthodox. Sometimes I'll switch into southpaw stance when I'm doing gloves and doing mitts. Obviously, that's what he's talking about there. And you bring in some left southpaw sparring partners, you bring in orthodox sparring partners, and you do that. But he said the one thing that you can do to somebody that switches stance and whatever works the best with anything is straight punches to the body. It's like straight punches to the body, land southpaw or orthodox, doesn't make a difference because it's a straight shot right there to your body. So, and when you think about the straight punches and all of that stuff, the straight punches are significantly faster than hooks and hooked and wide punches are, just because it's the straightest line, the quickest point, the quickest path between 2 points is a straight line. But anyway, all good stuff. At the end of the day, we're going to see what happens in the fight, though. It's going to matter who the best guy is that day and whose mind is on it right now. Who reacts to what the other person is doing the best. And we'll see who wins the fight. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.